All right, welcome to the first ever episode of The Valley Boys. I am your host, Dave Weasel. Let's get this shit over with. Joining with me is my assistant, Brandon Collins, who one time took a dump on a jogging path in Tarzana.
Whoa, assistant? No. This is called The Valley Boys, not Dave and his stupid cats.
Oh, man. That was a way better idea. Could you imagine if it was my cats on here instead of you? And they got these little headphones on their triangular ears. God, I love cats. It's not weird.
No, not at all, John Wayne Gacy.
Anyways, yeah, you've been demoted to assistant.
Demoted from what exactly?
Sidekick.
Not your sidekick either.
Well, not anymore. Not after all that shit you were talking about Canada.
I stand by that. Everything Canadians do is stupid with your moose fucking and your and socialized medicine. And another thing, I didn't take a dump on a jogging path in Tarzana.
Oh, yes, you did. This is fake news. You're already starting this shit off with more of that shit. I saw it with my own eyes. You definitely took a shit on a jogging path in Tarzana.
I'll have you know, it was in Encino.
Oh, Christ. You know, maybe it was. Yeah, that's right. It was a couple of blocks away from that Mexican restaurant. It was technically Encino.
Yeah, it was past that Mexican restaurant. Why do you think I had to take a shit in the first place?
Christ.
Dave! Brandon! Dave! Brandon, damn it!
I didn't say you said that, Dave.
I didn't say you said I said that, Brandon.
Libtard.
Conservative.
That's it, I'm doing it.
Don't you dare fart in my microphone.
The Valley Boys.
Yeah, there is definitely a hierarchy between us. I'm right here at the microphone. That's me. Up there at the ceiling, that's my 2-year-old daughter. But down here at the microphone, that's me. Now down here at the table, that's where the 2 cats are. Now down here on the floor, trekking around the mud and the shit from jogging paths, that's you.
Well, let me tell you what I see from where I'm sitting. Up there, all the way up there, that's America.
Oh, God.
Shut it.
All right.
Down here at the table, it's all the other countries, all the other decent countries, except one. All the way down there at the floor. Down there, that's Canada. Trekking around all the dirt and the shit on the bike path.
If you're wondering about Brandon's accent and you're thinking, why does it sound like his parents are related to each other? It's because he's from Iowa. He's got the Iowa accent. That and his parents are actually related to each other.
Oh, yeah, well, if you're wondering about Dave's stupid accent, he got it from fucking Moose on Saturday nights.
All right, so regrettably, and I'm a little disappointed with this, I had asked the internet for any hypothetical questions that we could talk about. And I just got 90 versions. Well, actually, I got a toilet with a turd in it sent to me. Someone, I opened up my DMs, and that's what I got, a piece of poo. 7 minutes after I posted it, too.
Well, that's not bad for Twitter at all.
Right. But I got 90 versions of this of the same situation where if your partner and your parent had switched bodies, who would you have sex with? And number one, that's such a dumb cliche question, but my answer is neither. What's the consequence? Gun to the head, shoot me. Gun to their head, shoot them too. Fuck them. Well, not fuck them, because I'm not doing that. But that's my answer. Did you get anything good? Did you get any questions?
Well, actually, I happened to get one here recently. If you could have dinner with anybody live or dead, who would it be?
Oh, fuck. And see, that's just as stupid.
What's wrong with it?
It's just as cliche. It's the same. Nobody's creative with this shit. I mean, I'm not either. That's why I had to ask the internet. But my answer for that question, dead. Someone dead. Next question.
Well, no, you have to answer. It has to be a person.
Any dead person. Hitler. I would take him over anybody that's alive. That 90-year-old woman down the street with all the cats. I'd have her.
Oh, it sounds like her cats might have already.
Oh, had her for dinner? Brandon, gross.
What?
But yeah, any dead person. You know why? Because they got the answers. That woman would be talking on and on about whatever old people talk about. And I'd be like, oh, okay. So what's it like to die? That'd be so much more interesting than a celebrity. Who are you going to get? Fucking Angelina Jolie What you gonna do? Come to my house, use my Wi-Fi to adopt more Ethiopian children?
All right, make a point.
Maybe for dinner she's gonna order lipstick. But yeah, that's my answer. Anyone dead. That's who I'm having for dinner. 12 dead people, 1 dead person, doesn't matter. Dead.
I would have Paul Heyman, Chris Jericho, and Raven.
All right. All right, so we're recording this podcast in Reseda, California. And for those that don't know, the metropolis of Reseda, it's in the middle of the valley?
Yeah, Middle West Valley. We're halfway between Kanye and crime.
Oh, okay. It was mentioned in a Tom Petty song. The Karate Kid was filmed here. I think that would be. You ever do one of those Hollywood tours on the double-decker buses? That would just be it. They would drive up and they'd be like, "Okay, so here's where the Karate Kid was filmed. That's the end of the tour." And people would be like, "Well, what about the Tom Petty song, Ventura Boulevard?" And they'd be like, "Oh, that's technically in Tarzana and Encino." End of tour, no refunds.
Yeah, well, just for the record, more people have probably pissed on Ventura Boulevard than taken a shit on a biking path near there.
Well, it depends. People with jobs and people with homes, yeah, you're right. You also took a shower that day, so you're in a minority of your own, buddy.
Yeah, what can I say? I aim to excel at life.
I will say this about the San Fernando Valley. It's kind of fucked up how so many people here ask me for a cigarette. It feels like I'm back in Winnipeg.
Well, I stopped smoking years ago because I'm horribly fat. And I'm like, well, I better stick to one vice. And my one vice is food, alcohol, and hookers. So,
hooker. Okay, see, replace hookers with cigarettes, and I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, like here, everybody asks me for a cigarette, and I feel so weird. They say, "Do you got an extra cigarette?" Like that fucking exists. There's no such thing as an extra cigarette, bitch. I pay like 25 to 30 cents each for these cigarettes. There's no such. I'm not like, okay, give me a pack of cigarettes and also an extra one. You know. And I'm gonna carry it around in a glass fucking case, breakable by this that
Hammer?
breaks it. Breakable by
Hammers break glass. Well, every once in a while, though, and especially lately, all the Hollywood police chases have ended here, either or on the freeway.
This is where they just give up, you know?
Yeah, they're like, fuck it, we ran out of gas, we ran out of will, whatever, for whatever reason. So that's the other thing the Valley is known for. But, it's one of the more bullshit tours of L.A., but not as bullshit as the Hollywood tours that the tourists get.
Oh, shit, man. Could you imagine if they did, like, a realistic Hollywood tour? You know?
No, yeah. No. It would be like, hey, you see that apartment over there? Yeah, that's where every bum in this area of Hollywood takes a piss, and
oh man, that'd be useful though, man, because you can't take a piss anywhere in Hollywood. Everyone's like, no public bathrooms, and you're like, oh, but I've been spending money here. They're like, no public bathrooms. Fuck off.
Yeah. You would think as a business you would offer a place to piss, for your customers, even if it was in your sink. But no, it doesn't happen out here in Los Angeles.
You gotta go in the back alley.
Yeah.
Not that we would know, right?
No, not at all. Of course not. We are sophisticated gentlemen. We're Southern gentlemen of the first order. So.
Yeah, it rains once in a while. Actually, it's raining right now, which is so fucked up because the whole city shuts down when it rains. It's hilarious. We were outside in my backyard taking a piss, which okay,
not together.
Well, no, but like we're peeing in the back. The thing is, everybody judges you when you say I was peeing in the backyard. Every single man has a spot in his backyard where you take a piss.
Oh yes.
I mean that's just science. So we're back there taking a piss, and we hear our neighbors on all sides panicking. Oh my god, the rain! It's gonna be wet. Then what?
Yeah. It's the snow of LA, but like it's the same way that people in Texas freak out when there's a light dusting of snow on the freeway. When there's enough snow that drops that you can actually see it, and people in Texas freak out. That's what rain is like in LA. There's actually 2 tiers. One, people that slow the hell down for the appropriate traffic conditions, and people that continue on at 80 miles an hour, wondering why the hell everybody is slowing down.
That's probably you.
Dave, sir, I am a fine driver.
Yeah, you are. I'll give you credit for that. You obey the laws on the road and virtually nothing else.
I'm surprised you gave me a compliment. I was waiting until probably
Also, fuck you.
Okay, all right, good talk. Thank you.
So yeah, it's raining. It's raining right now, and also there's a wrestling fucking bullshit. Brandon wants to go somewhere that's airing. What is it exactly?
All Elite Wrestling on Wednesday nights on TNT.
Who fucking cares? It's just a bunch of dudes wearing their tighty whities, oiled up, grabbing each other, and you want to not do this and go and watch that?
Yeah. Imagine a couple dudes just sitting around fucking bullshit and doing fucking nothing. That's way fucking better. I'll have you know, Chris Jericho from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada.
Wait, he's from there?
Yes, he grew up there.
Oh.
He started his career there.
Oh. And wait, he started his career wrestling there?
Yes.
So, like, in wrestling, are you allowed to use shanks? Is that it? That would make him from Winnipeg.
The ref ain't looking, and whatever happens is illegal.
Oh, God. You know it's fake, right? You know wrestling's fake? I mean, the 90s, it was still pretty ambiguous. Everybody was like, well, I don't know, really. You know what I mean? Everybody knew, but only the idiots were like, well, maybe it's not. It's not fake. But if he had a shank, then I'd be like, oh, yeah, that guy's from Winnipeg.
Yeah, much like the girlfriends that you had in your younger days, like all of that, the fake orgasms and
my younger days of what, 30?
Yes. Yeah.
Just a couple of years ago.
35. What do you mean? No, 35. You're almost halfway to the grave, buddy. Stop.
So are you. You're also 35, you piece of shit.
Right, exactly. But I don't deny that A, I'm a piece of shit, or B, that I'm halfway to the grave. I know exactly who I am.
Yeah, I guess we are. We're middle-aged, right? We're middle-aged dudes.
Yeah, exactly. Give us 2 more years and we're like fucking halfway there. Dudes their average lifespan is like, what, 77, 76 years? We keep, 2 more.
Yeah, but even 70, it's not unheard of to keel over at 70. So
Hell
realistically,
yeah,
we're
mid-60s, yeah.
Especially the way that we drink and we eat, like we're middle-aged. We're probably past middle age.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, but smoking takes off an average. It's everybody has their stories about how smoking kills, but it takes off an average of 4 years off your life. Now these are the 4 diaper wearing shit pants in years.
Yeah, well,
these aren't 4 college years. You know what I mean?
I figure, I'm going to die somewhere between 50 and 55 between the cocaine and STDs from the hookers.
Are you back on the coke? Wait, STD. What? Hang on. One thing at a time.
Oh no! I thought we were talking about weed. I'm sorry.
This is a family podcast. To anybody that is a family of Brandon, you're gonna learn all kinds of gnarly shit. So let's start with the cocaine. You only recently did cocaine, right?
Yes, I've done it a couple times. Took a little snort one time and
took a little snort.
Well, fuck, like I ain't gonna do a full fucking line. Like I want to know exactly what it's gonna do to me. So I did that. Didn't do shit. And then a couple months later, did like half a line, from somebody else. And I'm like, man, I was.
Where was this? Was this in L.A.?
Location undisclosed.
No.
It wasn't in California. It was in New Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah.
New Mexico. Big surprise. I feel like as soon as you cross the state line, welcome to New Mexico, here's a line of coke.
Right. Yeah, and they pretend this shit's illegal even though everyone does it, but that's a lot of fucking states with a lot of fucking drugs.
So that's where you were doing coke, New Mexico?
Yes.
And what happened?
Well, the first time, not a whole lot. Like, I took a little snort, I'm like, not much going on here. Second time, I had...
Is this in the same night, sorry?
No, different nights.
Oh.
And so I had a line cut for me, but it was like, as the person who was doing it, like, had been doing it for a long time. So I'm like, cut me half a line, because if you're going to do this much, I better probably do half that,
Right.
And so I did half a line. I was already high on weed at that point because I had supplied weed to the party. And D-dlee-D. And next thing I know, I was on Cloud 9, feeling pretty good about myself the rest of the fucking night.
So it was a good experience doing coke.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. Like, yeah,
But like you say, you did a little bit of it, and it was in a different state, so you were on vacation.
Yep.
Well, that's the pizza.
Yeah, that is a goddamn pizza.
Right.
Hold on,
Yeah.
people. Podcast where people eat during the fucking podcast. Like,
It's not we, it's you. You're the only one fucking eating.
You
We
know
just
what?
had a whole thing about being fat, and you're the one eating. I'm waiting to go again, and you're eating.
okay, so if like fucking Christy Brinkley, after like a fucking 72-hour binge and purge, like ate a fucking brownie, like would that make her fucking fatter than the next Victoria's Secret model?
It depends if she's holding up her work or her hobby.
Yeah.
Then yeah, while everybody's waiting for her to finish eating, and you're not even halfway done that goddamn brownie. Move it. Fucking chew, fat ass. Just swallow it down, man. We got shit to talk about.
I'm telling you, like,
How do girls even... oh my god, do you know what you would benefit from? Dude, if you would benefit from an arranged marriage. Yeah, man. It would have been so much easier for you, or really everybody, if your parents had picked out your wife for you when you were like 7.
yeah.
You know? That'd be so great. Because right now, everybody our age is like, oh, no, I'm too good for everything, even at 35, right? They're like, oh, no. I'm going to find the person of my dreams super late in life like this, and it's just going to magically fall in place.
Yeah.
But the reality is, arranged marriages are the way to go. You don't have to worry about any of that shit. You could just be eating brownies all day like you and not have to worry about it.
Yeah. You're recording right now, aren't you?
Oh, yeah.
No. I fucking figured, you cocksucker.
Now, here's the thing about arranged marriages.
Yeah.
Here's why they work.
Yeah.
Or here's what confuses me about it, I should say.
Yeah.
They work because people like you
Yeah.
find a partner that lasts for life. They have a very low divorce rate.
Right, but you have to remember, too, I wasn't fucking fat. Oh, no, I was fairly chubby when I was 7. Never mind.
7, yeah, that's when they figure that shit out. Or like the boy is 7, the girl is like 4. And like, here's the
That
thing.
would have been good for me.
They call that shit, one parent pays the other one. They call that a dowry.
Mm-hmm.
Now the question is, how do they figure out who pays what?
Well, the woman pays because, it's...
Not necessarily.
Well, the majority of the time, because...
Right, in a lot of
The majority
specific
go-
cultures,
Yeah.
that's the way it goes. The either the female pays, the female's family pays, or the male's family pays. But in some cultures, they don't have a distinction. They got to figure that out on their own, and that's what I want to know. How the fuck do they figure that out? If they're like 6 years old, do they figure that out by like, well, my son is really good at finger painting?
Well, he's a fucking girl's family. Should probably, pay a fucking handsome fortune for that fucking feller. You got talent.
That's how you see it. So the girls should pay.
Sure.
Well, you know what's crazy is, again, it comes down to the divorce rate. If you look at somebody looking for love that's our age, 35, chances are it's your second or third go at it, at
Yeah.
a very serious, lifelong commitment, whether it's marriage or otherwise. And with them, by the time they're our age, they've been in it for 15 years, you know?
Right. Well, that just means that the guy hasn't found the right girl to appreciate finger painting.
Yeah, you're right.
Of course I'm right. Why would
Well,
I
it's
be
better
wrong?
than what we got right now. Because what we got right now is everybody being like, no, I'm too good for everything.
Okay, we have Tinder. Tinder currently exists. If anybody needs to know where the state of fucking coupling in this country is, Tinder exists. That's all you need to fucking know about where
But
we're
that
at.
proves my point, too. They're just like, nope, this person is 5'8". No, not good enough for me. And they're fucking swiping on a cracked phone screen, you know?
Yeah, I fucking know somebody like that. They're like, they won't date. It's weird. They won't date short individuals unless there's something fucking special about them. Like
And what's that, money?
it could be, yeah. I don't know the exact metric, But like generally, yeah, unless you're like 6 foot or taller, fucking good luck getting a goddamn date. You know, I think the reason this
I'm not saying good luck getting a date. I think it's more like there are too many people, both genders, that set the bar so high for themselves because we just expect it. You know, like look at the new iPhone. Only the best for me. Only the like. If you were to explain to somebody, I don't know, 15 years ago, hey, there's going to be $1,000 phone every year, and every 3 years you're going to get one, they'd be like, go fuck yourself. I'm not doing that. And then here we are, and people can't even afford it. But that's the funny thing is they think there's a such thing as a free phone. You know, everybody's like, oh, come in and you'll get a free phone with this plan, and that plan is charging you out the fucking ass. They're recuperating their costs one way or the other. And ridiculous people think there's a such thing as a free phone. And it comes down to dating too, where I'm not saying you need to lower your standards at all. Like you have your standards, that's where you go. That's totally up to you. But 80% of people have standards way too fucking high. And it comes down to that. We live in a materialistic world where it extends to that, and that's why people aren't finding fulfillment a little bit earlier. Maybe I'm wrong. Because you look at modern dating, right? Like the way that people like, there's so many different stages of it where you don't even admit that you're together. You're like, oh, we're just seeing each other. Light reflects off my retinas and bounces off of that person, and we can see each other. That's what you say. Oh, I saw you and so-and-so. Oh, that's what you say. We're seeing each other, you know? And then finally, you admit that you're fucking.
Yeah, I think,
then it's a defeat.
I think the metric for this should be is now, like, if you aren't a millionaire, if you're not even like pulling 6 figures, if you can't miss a paycheck without it, with your current lifestyle, then that's probably a good person to fucking skip over. Right.
And what's funny is that's most people. That's like they talk about it in these situations with dating or whatever, but the reality is most Americans live paycheck to paycheck. They need every fucking paycheck.
Not need every paycheck. Most Americans live paycheck to paycheck. I'll grant you that. It's like 78%. However, you have a lot of Americans too that also try to live either beyond their means or at the edge of their fucking means.
Or in debt.
Or in debt. In debt entirely. You know, like I have fucking debt because I had a rough patch in life. You know.
That's a little bit different. That's not through entitlement, though.
No, I wasn't buying the brand new iPhone 11. I don't drive a Mercedes. I drive a little fucking, low-end Nissan.
Beep, beep.
Yeah, that's right. But what I'm saying is if you're trying to date somebody and, you know, they're making like $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year, but they complain about never having money and being broke, but they always have the latest iPhone. They drive a fucking brand new Mercedes. They always eat at high-end restaurants like
well, those are idiots. Those are straight up idiots.
But that's what I'm saying. But that's what we're talking about, like with dating, because you have to wade through the idiots. They're going to be in the fucking dating pool because idiots want love too. You know, and you don't have to be a goddamn Harvard graduate, you know, to fucking want to end up with somebody. You know,
you should be kicked off a dating app past a certain age, like past 30. It's like just fucking date one of your friends, and that's the thing. They're like, oh, I don't want to date one of my friends. Like these are, I mean, Obviously, I do believe in platonic friendship between men and women, but let's face it, it's not going to be the end of the world if you two start. It's not the craziest thing if you two start fucking, because you can measure exactly how close in friendship two people are of the opposite gender by how obscure the situation is before they have sex. And I'll tell you, it's not any more obscure than both of you being drunk and the woman initiating it. That's a fact. And being single.
Sure.
You get any two friends that are opposite genders, or they're two gay dudes or two gay women, whatever, and you're both single and you're both super drunk, and the woman initiating it, that's the desert island. And it's not any more obscure than that. If the guy says no, we can't do that, we're friends, then you're really solid fucking friends. But that's very rare.
I
I don't know if that makes any sense.
I wouldn't mind if the chick was married and say, hey, we should hook up tonight, because that eliminates the awkward conversation in the morning of what are we?
Dude, I started watching this show called My 600-Pound Life.
Did you feel how much it related to you?
Well, I was thinking of you because, you know, you're closer to 600 pounds than I am.
Yeah,
you're like,
but
what,
I'm also
400, 450?
Yeah, but I'm also not built like a little bitch, too, so. I mean, like, I could take a couple punches to the chin and still be standing. Like you get hit one.
Oh, no, I'll turtle down.
Yeah, your head's going to get spun around, about like a dozen times.
Yeah.
So.
Well, anyways, My 600-Pound Life.
Yes.
It's the worst show because they have these people that have this food addiction, you know, and they're like, I can't stop eating. And then they get the surgery to shrink their stomach or whatever.
Yeah, gastric bypass.
And they're so fucking fat that they can't even get liposuction. And the worst part is there was one dude, he's in his bed eating food all day. And his girlfriend, I don't know how the fuck he has a girlfriend or a wife, whatever. She's just constantly barreling in food for him. And he's double fisting it because he can't eat it fast enough. She's like, oh, yeah, he eats 3 boxes of Frosted Flakes every morning for breakfast. And as soon as he's done with that, I start with lunch.
Wait. 3 boxes?
3 boxes, dude,
Jeez,
of Frosted Flakes.
One breakfast.
Yeah, dude.
Fuck.
And the funny thing is, it's like, why not put it in a big trough?
Sure.
But she just keeps pouring the bowls for him, just bowl after bowl. It's like, no, dude. Like, work smarter, not harder, and just put it in a trough.
Yeah, get like one of those
he's not
giant
gonna
stew
care.
pots or something like that and pour them all
Give
in there.
him 2 spoons, and he's
Yeah.
good to go, man.
Christ on a kite.
And that's the thing is, it's not. It is their fault. I feel bad for them to an extent because they have an addiction, but it's the enablers, and it's always a family member. It's always like they're like this. They had a 23-year-old. Like, dude, if you're 600 pounds at the age of 23, it's just as much your family's fault as it is yours for constantly shoveling that shit in. And they're like, oh, that's my baby. She loves to eat constantly nonstop, and so I'm just gonna keep doing it. And the one girl. Fuck, dude. They tried to take her on an airplane, right? And they brought her to the airport. Yeah. And she broke the wheelchair. It's so sad that they had the wheelchair.
It's horrible.
Yeah, they had a wheelchair at the airport, and she gets in it, and she breaks it, and then she ends up waddling over to the counter, and she ordered 3 tickets to Houston, and they're like, how do we get on the plane without a wheelchair? It's not funny. Fuck, shut up. And the girl herself, she's like, oh, what about one of them luggage carts? So she gets on it, and she's wearing this like big red dress, and she's just flopped on this luggage cart, and she looks like this giant mermaid, but instead of a mermaid, she's a manatee in a dress. That's so mean, but whatever. That's what it looks like. And they're pushing her through, and she's like, "Oh, those guys took a picture of me." I was like, well, that's so shitty. Like, that's shit. If I saw that, I would look the other way. You know what I mean? You're a piece of shit if you take a picture of that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's human nature to take a second look. How often are you going to see that in an airport?
Right.
And so, yeah, they get to Houston, and the doctor, it's the same doctor that they have for everybody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, every episode, it's the same doctor.
Sure.
And he's like, you got to lose the weight. You got to lose a little bit of weight first before I can operate on you. You're too fucking fat. But he says that to everybody.
Sure.
And usually they come back 20 pounds lighter after a month. You know, they're really trying to make changes, and for that, good for you. Go, you do that. You know.
Yeah.
But then some of them come back and they're like, "Yeah, I just didn't do it because they're like drug addicts, right?
Yeah.
When you're an addict, you go to the dentist and you get Novocaine and you're back on the drugs. They're like, yeah, the day after the consultation, I went to a barbecue, and the next thing I know, I gained 20 pounds this month. And the doctor, he's just straight up like, well, you're gonna die before 30. God. You know, and long story short, it reminded me of you, because you know you're so fucking fat.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
450, right?
It's something like that. Yeah. The man, I don't know what to say, Dave.
You're supposed to say, "Oh, you're just as fat, you little fucking pig."
Well, I already said that, and then you still ran your fucking cock holsters. Yeah. So did you hear that Kamala dropped out of the race today?
Yeah, of course I heard about that. It's all over the internet.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts?
Well,
I'm just asking as someone who at one time was like, "Oh, Kamala's the greatest thing since sliced bread."
well, I didn't say it that way. I do think she would be a good president. I also said that about Beto. So what are you going to listen to my opinion?
Well,
It's
of
all
course.
about Bernie.
Well, of course, I've been trying to educate you this whole time.
Well, you are going for Donald Trump, obviously, but besides him, Trump Jr. Tulsi.
Are you afraid now? All the progressives out there are afraid of a strong female of color who is trying to run for the most powerful job and position in all of the world and universe.
No, we want a female woman of color in the presidency. That's why we're rallying behind Elizabeth Warren.
So, did you hear the news about Kamala dropping out of the race today?
Yeah. Well, her aide quit her top aide quit a couple days ago. She actually said, "This is the worst treatment I've ever seen in a presidential campaign. Treatment to its staff." And I knew that wasn't good.
A shocker, yeah. It's almost like she had a track record of that. Kind of like all the stuff that Tulsi happened to mention during the debates about her, keeping people in jail for bullshit marijuana violations, and having to be forced to release a man off death row by the actual court system, telling her that she is doing such a horrible job that, like, look, you have to let this guy go, whether you like it or not. Who would have guessed that she would end up dropping out of the race after getting a bomb dropped on her like that?
Yeah, she took a tough on crime stance. Based on my research, I looked up a few things here and there. There was a very progressive lawyer. I don't remember what organization they're with, so I'm gonna not say I don't know which one. But they said she is no friend to progressives. The way that she handles the criminal justice system. And I think that's the next big thing, by the way. Just as a side note, right now we're kind of looking at immigration, and the next big thing, whether it's next election or the one after, it's going to be a prison reform. And people like Kamala, who I think has her heart in the right place, but she's got such a nasty track record of that shit, as Tulsi pointed out, which is a weird thing, by the way. She was like, what, 0.1%? Like, she barely got in the debates in the first place, and that's who she goes after is Kamala and not the top dogs, I don't know. I think that's kind of punching down.
Well, I mean, technically, when you're in the bottom, you're going to be punching up no matter what. She'll get to the rest of them, but she's just, hacking through the weeds right now.
But on the other hand, she's still in it, and Kamala's not, Merry Christmas, Brandon.
Well, thank you. It's...
There was that one thing I read, too, where Kamala there was this legit skinhead, some Nazi punk piece of shit, who, in and out of jail his whole life, whatever. He went to prison, convicted of possessing a weapon. Somebody got stabbed at some bar, I don't know exactly, and then they figured he did it, and then it turns out he didn't. He spent like 15 years in jail for it, and then they proved that he didn't do it, but they still didn't release him. I mean, it's not the same as death row. It's not like they're going to kill him, but 15 years in jail. And it took the federal court to say, let this fucking guy out of jail. What the hell's wrong with you? And then they finally let the guy out, and that's up in Northern California, but he said, you're entitled to, I think it's $160 per day you can go after the government for if you're wrongfully incarcerated, because that's what they figure the average person makes. And so he 15 years, he was supposed to collect $400,000 or whatever it is. And it's been a couple of years since then, and he hasn't seen one dime of it. They're just like, no, we need a federal court order to let you out of prison in the first place, and we're not giving you what's legally yours. So
fantastic. Yeah, typical California. What do you expect?
But at the same time, I don't really feel bad for that guy. On one hand, yeah, he was wrongfully convicted, and that sucks. On the other hand, he is a piece of shit. But at the end of the day, does it really matter if he didn't commit that crime? You can't put him in jail for that.
No, exactly. It's about the rule of law in this case. You know, it protects the innocent, whether they've done a bunch of shitty things before that, but on this particular issue, they're not there. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly like Trump. If you want to nail his ass to the wall, which, by the way, he is building right now.
Oh, fuck.
If you want to nail his ass to the wall, you got to find something tangible. Yeah, you can't go with these, wishy-washy conspiracy theory things that turn out to be not true every time.
Well, I mean, the evidence is pointing that way, and everybody that's actually testifying is saying that that's where it's pointing, and the people that really know are avoiding testifying altogether.
Right, so we have these mystical, magical, fairy witnesses that have just magically disappeared, and then we also
they're
have
not disappearing. They've explicitly ignored their subpoenas, and they're not going in. And all they have to do is go on the stand and say, "I was on the call. There was no quid pro quo. There was nothing like that," and their testimony would weigh against anything else.
Yeah, and people that felt so,
but they won't do it.
Yeah, people that felt so compelled to speak out against Trump in the first place when they could do it behind a veil, now all of a sudden just disappeared when it's time to sack up. Yeah, what a coincidence. Oh,
well, that doesn't matter.
Okay, well, let's go with what does matter, what we actually have. We have a bunch of witnesses who said, well, I presume, my belief is, well, maybe, I think this was, it could be, it should have been, it might have been like this.
Okay, I see your point.
Yeah,
you're not wrong.
I'm a little bit louder for the people in the back. This is the only time this might happen, so I want to hear it. All right, I'll take it. Right, and that's what I'm saying. If you're going to nail Trump's ass, you're going to have something tangible to do it. It's the rule of law, at least here in America. I don't know about up in Canada.
Oh, we have laws.
Oh, yeah, what laws?
We have moose law.
Oh, yeah, moose law?
No riding a moose backwards on Sundays.
Oh,
it's the biggest crime you could commit.
Well, I'm glad you decided to tackle the tough crime in Canada. But let me tell you about tough crime, which I'm actually happy about this story that comes out of BC. Shout out to all my West Coast Canadians.
British Columbia.
And so there's a woman out there who tried to sue transgendered woman, tried to sue multiple...
So woman.
Yeah, okay. Anyhow, so she... was going to sue these 7 different salons up in Canada, and she brought a suit against these people because she claimed that she was being discriminated against as a woman because they would not perform waxing on her genitalia, which was that of a male.
So she was being discriminated against because she's a woman or because she's a trans woman? Like...
She wanted women at these spas, and that's all these spas employed were women, or some of them worked from their homes alone, but wanted them to perform a bikini wax on her male genitals.
Oh, she's still got the...
Yeah, the old wedding tackle is still intact.
All right. Yeah, that's a little bit of a gray area, because you can't really force businesses to force their female employees to handle male genitalia if they're not comfortable with it. But what did they say to the woman though? Did they say to her, "It's because you're transgender? Is it because you have male parts? We don't deal with that." Like, was there anything outwardly discriminating? Or was it just that the employees weren't comfortable with it? What's the deal here?
So the council, BC Human Rights Tribunal, heard her case, and this was the commentary from Devin Cousineau, found that she had been repeatedly deceptive and had sought to target small businesses for financial gain, or to punish certain ethnic groups which she perceives as hostile to the rights of LGBTQ plus people.
Okay, that's a pretty heavy accusation on itself. But I think that's different than being denied service for your sexual orientation or your gender or anything like that, which I think you shouldn't be able to do for those explicit reasons, like that wedding caterer or the cake maker who denied service to the gay people. I think that's a human rights violation.
How is it a human rights violation to not have a cake made for you?
Because they're explicitly and vocally denying them service because of their sexual orientation, which in my opinion is wrong.
In my personal opinion, yes, I believe that it's wrong. Now, looking at things from a legal standpoint, the Constitution, specifically the First Amendment, specifically states that the government cannot infringe upon your right to freely practice your religion. So now you have...
But does it allow you to infringe on other people's rights to exist in their own way?
Well, so in this case, you have the gay couple trying to infringe upon the baker's rights. The baker is saying that it's going through the court system, that now the government's involved, so now the government is infringing upon his rights.
No.
So here's the thing, is with this situation, somebody is going to have their rights infringed on one way or the other.
Okay, I'll agree with that, where it's whose rights are being infringed on more. And I think from a legal perspective, it's the gay couple who are being denied service because of their sexual orientation. And you could say it's my religious right, but I think that them as a gay person, they don't even have to accept it. All they have to do is write on the cake, Adam and Steve. You know, they don't have to. It's not like it's. I can understand if it was made out of. Oh God, how do I not get in trouble? Dildos.
Oh my God, the filth that just came out of your mouth. We've just lost half our audience. I'll
Or a Nazi cake. Let's go with that. Let's say if they were gay Nazis, and he was like, okay, well, I don't agree with the Nazi
hilarious.
part. Be a little different. I mean, Hitler, he was not about the homosexuality, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, but the point of all this is that someone's rights are going to be infringed upon to start with, right? But now you're going into like anecdotal arguments about whether it's like, oh, come on, who cares? Just do it this one time. We're talking about the rule of law. If you allow something to slide,
no, you were saying
it starts rolling downhill.
You were saying that it's just their cake. It's like they had their feelings hurt, and I'm saying, well, for the baker, all he had to do was write a different name, like two males' names, if that.
Right, but his sincere belief is that if he were to serve them, that he would consider it a sin against his religion. It would be a slight against it in his mind.
In his mind. So by that logic, you can get away with anything. So if I shot you dead, and I said, well, my religion said to kill Brandon, and even though, I don't know, 80% of the country would be okay with me killing you specifically, because that's not an excuse to do it. And people do that, man. They push those boundaries. They'll say, what's that spaghetti? The spaghetti monster, the flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah.
You see that where they went in for their driver's license and they said, well, I'm going to put a spaghetti strainer on my head because it's my religion. Durr.
Yeah, I think it was like Austria or something like that. Yeah.
No, I thought that was here. Someone might have done it somewhere else, but somebody did that here too. Sure. They did it in Canada too.
Yeah, somebody did it everywhere.
Right.
Anyhow,
someone does it once.
Point being,
that shit is stupid. Like they're trying to make a point to say, well, if they're allowed to wear a turban, if they're allowed to whatever, then I'm allowed to fucking, and like that's not the way to stick it to the government.
All right, well, here's the thing. So going back to the whole killing somebody argument, right? Mm-hmm. If I go up and shoot you in the head, I have infringed upon your right to live your life the way that you see fit. So I have actually inflicted harm upon you, irrevocably in this case. I know some big words. Don't you laugh at me, Dave.
No matter how hard you stumble through them, yeah, I got you.
If I walk up to you and say, man, I wish somebody would put a gun against your head and pull the trigger, nothing's going to happen. because nothing was fucking harmed. You didn't threaten somebody. You didn't actually kill somebody. Nothing was done. And that's the thing with the baker and the cake maker in this case. So at this point, all that happened was the gay couple had some hurt feelings. The baker didn't make a sale, but at this point, everyone was free to go upon their day.
Okay, so you're quoting the Constitution as the reasoning behind your logic here. He's allowed to freely express his religion. But what if it infringes on other people's right to happiness? What's the quote on that again?
Life, liberty, and the pursuit.
That's what these guys are trying to do. They're trying to pursue happiness and not have their rights infringed on based upon somebody else's prejudice. And that's what it comes down to. If that baker had said, well, I just don't have the materials today. I ran out of flour. Everybody knows he's full of shit, but at least he said that. If he says, I'm not serving you because your lifestyle doesn't line up with whatever the fuck my interpretation of what my God has said about that, then fuck that dude. How is it different than saying you can't come in here because you're black?
Well, that's the thing. We're not talking about someone who is black, Chinese, Mexican, who is being discriminated against. We're talking about a particular...
we basically are, though. No, they're being discriminated against based on who they are.
We're talking about an isolated incident here where it's specifically related to someone's religious belief. Now, I don't particularly hold that belief. I don't stand behind that stance. But at the same time, if that's what the Constitution says is allowed, and the Supreme Court voted on, the case went all the way to the Supreme Court, and they sided with the side of the baker. And that just goes to my whole point earlier of someone's rights are going to have to get stepped on here in this case. Like, you're not going to make everybody happy in this situation.
So if I had said that my religion forbids me as a business owner to interact with black people, should that be allowed? If I had a water fountain, if I owned a mall and I put up a sign that said, no black people around these water fountains, is that legal?
Well, again, you would have to put the argument in the confines of if somebody was claiming a religious practice or not, and then
my
if
religion,
somebody,
my religion,
okay, now
says no black people. That's what my religion says.
Okay,
like in this hypothetical context, but and I also don't own them all. But
right,
in this situation, my religion says no black people can drink out of water fountains that you own. And I put that up and I explicitly say, it's nothing personal. It's just my religion says no black people can drink out of these water fountains. Will that go to the Supreme Court? And with the Supreme Court, well, I mean, Trump's Supreme Court, but in this situation, is that how it would go?
Well, it would depend on a few factors. A, you would have to decide how sincerely held those beliefs are, and whether it's just somebody making crackpot, statements. And that's one of the things that was determined.
I'm sure you could find a religion. I'm sure there's a religion out there.
You could make one up overnight that says that you have to drink dish soap and wash yourself in cheap beer. You can create any crackpot religion you want, but it does have to stand up to a certain standard. You can't just claim whatever you want and expect it to go to the court system and have it be held up. These have to be sincerely, firmly held, established beliefs that you can prove are legitimate based upon the length of time you've believed it, your knowledge of the subject, the way you actually live your life. So if it came down to the subject of a black person being discriminated against by someone claiming that it's religious practices, that has to go to the court system. We're right back.
That's nasty.
It's nasty. It is. It's absolutely nasty.
And I don't see it. I don't see that any differently, denying a gay person service because they're gay as any different than saying you can't drink out of this water fountain because you're black.
All right. Well, I mean, unfortunately, where we're at is Supreme Court. Personally, yes, it's discrimination, plain and clear. I don't agree with it whatsoever, but unfortunately, that's where we're at with the Supreme Court right now.
Is they have a blatant double standard.
It would appear so.
Aha! So if you're wondering why it sounds slightly different throughout this podcast, it's because we recorded part of it in my house, part of it in Brandon's house where we are right now, where he just, God, he's living in squalor. He's got this Christmas tree that looks like a meter stick.
From Walmart.
Yeah, well.
They employ many Americans.
It's also like a Charlie Brown tree, but yeah, that's cool.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead and shit all over the spirit of Christmas, Dave. Goddamn liberal sons of bitches.
Well, I'm not religious, so Christmas to me is just Xmas, you know?
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, that tree is a symbol of beacon and hope for people around the world.
But aside from your shitty tree, the worst part about being in Brandon's house is what he's wearing, which is nothing but a pair of basketball shorts and his glasses.
Yeah, because Dave's afraid of what masculinity looks like because he's never seen it for the 35 years he's been alive looking in the fucking mirror.
Oh. Damn, dude. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but just, geez.
I'm sorry, I'm a little drunk.
Right for the jugular, man. Yeah, well, me too. We've been drinking booze all night. Like, that was our problem last time we got too drunk. We had to edit down 3.5 hours down to 1 hour, and it's just, we were drunk the whole time. And I'm like, we can't use really any of this. But I will say that you sitting here shirtless is quite a distraction. And I don't mean that in any way a compliment.
So you've been around Canadian wildlife, but somehow like this offends you. Like
we don't have any silverback gorillas there. We do have humpback whales off the west coast. You know what's funny?
Or your mom's favorite, the sperm whale.
I'm sitting here fat shaming you like a fat schist. Like I'm not a fat guy myself.
Yeah, right. No, you're like one of those fat dudes that has a shirt that says "No Fat Chicks" when he goes to the country music shows and his jacked up Ford F-150.
Okay, hang on. That is you, sir. That is literally you. You're just
I'm sorry. I don't remember fat
blaming
shaming.
me.
I don't remember fat shaming anybody. I'm sorry. Who was doing the fat shaming here? Mr. Progressive over there?
No, I think I was talking about my own weight. I don't remember saying anything about you.
Oh, yeah, no.
Yeah,
They're comparing me to a whale or a silverback gorilla. No, not at all. It had nothing to do with my weight. I, sir, am offended.
You know what's funny? I got my animal nickname when I was skinny, Weasel. Now I'm just like a fat weasel. I'm like a possum. Which, by the way, they have infested our neighbor. Brandon and I live 11 doors away from each other. Our houses are 11 houses away. And we have the same problems with bullshit possums. But luckily, we got this little spot that it's by a bridge over the LA River that we like to go and kind of king of the hill it, stand on the bridge and have a few drinks. We can't really do it now. There's been some gang activity, and the homeless have sort of made that their home. But that place has raccoons. Brandon, why don't you tell everybody how much you love I like cats. I'm not gonna get into it right now. But I really fucking adore cats. They are the greatest. Like I said, I'm not getting into it. But Brandon, you love raccoons.
Yeah. Please ignore the single cat lady for a minute. And let me tell you about how awesome raccoons are. A, they're smart. B, they love food and they're fat like me, so that's pretty awesome. And C, they're not fucking cats.
They really are like you. They'll just eat anything.
And somehow you're the one trying to lose weight, fatty.
Yeah, I'm on the keto diet. I just got back into it. I was on it since September 17th, and then I went off of it for Thanksgiving because you got it. I'm not fucking gonna go there and be like, I'm just gonna have some turkey and nothing else. Fuck that.
Yeah. So here's the thing, man. So your bullshit cats, they'll sit there and they'll be assholes to you. Yeah, your bullshit cats, they'll sit there and look at you like you're an asshole. They'll treat you like you're an asshole. You'll want to give them some affection. They'll turn their back on you, basically telling you to F off, right? But they'll still expect, food and water and that you get up in the morning and change your litter box, all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Raccoon, they'll actually show a little affection towards you.
No, they don't.
They'll jump on
What's affection? They'll bite your finger off? That's affection to them?
It's protein they need to eat. Goddamn, they're hungry, they're fat. Don't you judge, you son of a bitch. But No, yeah, they'll be up on your lap and rubbing on you, and they'll want the belly rubs and all that, and they won't push your glasses of water off the table, and
You know what's funny? I have 2 cats, Ace and Wednesday.
they have cool names. I'll give you that.
Yeah, well, Wednesday I thought was a girl. I took pictures. I didn't know what gender they were, so I took pictures of their junk and I put it on.
That was shocker. The liberal couldn't figure out what gender was in 2019. Big surprise.
Come on, man. So, anyways, fuck. I couldn't figure out what gender they were because they were still little baby kitties.
Yeah.
So I took pictures of their junk like a weirdo, but I put it on the internet also like a weirdo. And I asked people, what is this? And then one girl said, I work at a vet, whatever. One of them, Ace, that's a boy. So he got the name Ace. The other one, I can't really tell, but I think that's a girl. And so I named that one Wednesday, like Wednesday Addams.
Okay.
And then it turns out Wednesday's he's a man. He gets shit done. Not like Ace. Because Ace is a dick. Like not just has one. He is the meanest cat. He does, like, you go to pet him and he just moves away. He's like, the fuck are you doing? Wednesday, he just loves the love. But they're both great. I love them so much.
Yeah, so Wednesday should have been a raccoon is what you're saying, basically.
No, Wednesday is a regular cat. I think Ace is the raccoon. Anytime I've seen a raccoon, you know what I did to a raccoon? I saw one on my back porch, and he's eating out of the dog food. So I go up to because I got, the back door at my place. It's got a big glass window.
Yeah.
So I go up and I just start fucking knocking on it. He takes off like a pussy.
Oh, Hims just wanted some foods. You fat fuck. You can share some of your food. Obviously, you don't need the calories.
Oh, see, now who's the fat chist?
Yeah, well, I'm fat, so I can say it. So,
all right, that's about it for us. Thanks a lot for listening. If you made it all the way through, we are the Valley Boys, recorded from Reseda, California.
Whoop whoop.
Yeah, say goodnight, Brandon.
Good night, Brandon.
Oh fuck. Well, I'm performing at the Comedy Store this Thursday, which should be today by the time it airs. Thursday, December 5th, the Belly Room, 8 p.m. I'm going there for Low Key Upset. You're going to find out what I'm low key upset about compared to this, high key upset shit. But it'll be a good time. Come on down. Matt Rife is the one hosting it, running it, the big star of it. He looks like a GQ model, but somehow he's cursed with the brain of a comedian. It'll be a good time. Thanks a lot for listening. I'm Dave Weasel with Brandon Collins. Peace out.
And I've got my peace out. Good night.